Alright, so in this video I want to try and start, I want to incorporate, remember we figured out how to get this ball to move around with the keyboard, but I want to have this as a class and bring it into this ball class over here so that I can have these balls that kind of bounce around, and then I can have a ball that I can kind of navigate and move around and maybe interact with the other balls somehow. So, but that's kind of a big move, right? Convert this whole thing into a class and put this thing all together. So I wonder what my first move is going to be. What do you think? If you guessed refactoring, you are right. I'm going to have to do some refactoring first before I start pulling some other stuff in. So one thing I want to do, and refactoring, remember, that means changing the code without changing any of the behaviors. I'm just changing the code so to make it easier for me to do the change that I want to do next. So one thing I notice is that this ball class has a lot of the stuff that I need for working with this ball, right? There's this, well, I already have the global, canvas width and canvas height, but also there's a position, a radius, a velocity, all that kind of jazz. So, he has to update his position and draw himself and all that. So let's take a look at this class and figure out what are the things that where we have some overlap maybe, and how we can put those together. So there's this cool trick in object-oriented programming, which is what we're doing with this class stuff, which is called inheritance. You can actually what do I want to say? You can actually inherit behaviors from other classes. So if you've ever done anything like with Greenfoot or any object-oriented language, you'll have some experience with this. But let me just show you what I'm talking about. So what I want to do is I want to make a generic kind of class. It may or may not use draw itself as a ball. So I'm going to call it, I'm going to change the name from ball to sprite. So sprite, that's something you can look up to well, no, let's look it up. You could look it up in Wikipedia probably. I'll have a entry real quick. Yeah, so sprite, you can look at the Wikipedia entry for it. It has to do with in the early days in computers, they had these kind of objects that were in the hardware that so that you could have little guys, like these little things that move around on the screen. And so so they used the name sprite for any of these little software widgets, like a turtle in Microworlds would be considered a sprite. So so I'm going to rename this to sprite. And what I want to do is this the, yeah, I'm working on a Mac, so I'm looking at so when you go into the documentation, you click on Code Sculptor. If you're working with Windows, you're going to want to look at the Windows shortcuts. I'm working on a Mac, so I'm looking at the Mac shortcuts. And for the Mac search, it says if I want to do a global replace, I want to replace all, I have to hold down the Shift, Command, Option, and F keys. Because what I want to do is I want to rename, instead of calling this thing a ball, I want to call it a sprite. So I'm going to hold down my Command, Option, Shift, F key, and it says replace ball, and I hit enter, and it says width. I'm going to put down sprite. I'm going to hit return again, and boom, all my occurrences have ball, our sprite now. And let's see, I think what I'll do is I'm going to create a subclass. Let me show you how that works. It's going to have some of the same behavior. So I think like it makes sense for all my sprites to have a position, right? A set pos, X core, you know, they do something at the edge. That maybe this draw stuff will be a little different in different ones, but I'm going to leave that for now. You can always have a default rapid edge. It's really, I think the update might be different, but the distance is touching and all that stuff, and the touched list, all that stuff I want to be the same. So maybe, let's see, maybe I'll I'll set up another class here. So this is going to be a class called target, and I'm going to need to have an init function for it. But I'll show you how that's going to work. I'll say where'd I put my class? Oh yeah, it's got to be up here, right? Class target, edit, paste. So the way this init is going to work is I'm actually going to call something like let's see. I'm gonna think for a minute. Okay, I gotta call something like this. It's gonna say sprite.init with self name start pos and start velocity. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to say, oh wait, no, I didn't, because I want this to inherit from the sprite class. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this class knows how to do all the things that a sprite knows how to do. And to initialize this class, I'm going to use the initialization method in the sprite class. Okay, so it's going to set up my name, my start pos, and all that stuff. So what is special about the target that the generic sprites are not going to have? Well, probably like the on-touching, right? The on-touching behavior. Let me edit that and cut and paste. The on-touching behavior for this class is going to be different than for the other one, right? So like what I'm thinking on when these targets touch each other, they just kind of bounce off each other. But you know, when the other ball that we're moving around touches one of them, we might want to make the other one disappear or something different, right? So and the other thing we got to worry about is down here we're actually creating new targets here. Target. These sprites here have to be whoops, have to be targets. Because targets have all the behaviors we want, has the on-touching behavior that we want. And I might decide to pull some of these other ones out when I start incorporating the other guy, the other class. But let's just see if this works so far. If I hit go, yeah, they're doing what we want. Okay, so now I have a target class, and then I can incorporate this other stuff into like a hunter class or something. So we'll figure out how to do that one in the next video.